In modules 1 through 3, we've looked at some basic features of Canvas and also really how to plan out instruction whenever we're talking about moving it into a digital environment. And I can't stress enough, planning is essential to everything else in this. That's why Module 1 really starts with the planning. But now that we've gone through planning and how to get our course set up to make it user-friendly and then how to add in some digital assignments, now it's time to talk about how do we organize that stuff that we've built? How do we make it so that it's even easier for students to access? And also we can put in some requirements that students have to complete either in order or before they can move on to more content. The easy answer to that is using modules. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about specifically modules and what we can do with it, but also understand there are other ways to organize content within Canvas. This is just, in my opinion, the most user-friendly and the quickest way for teachers to go ahead and add content. Now, I've got a test course that typically I use to test out new features, things like that. So I'm just going to use this to show you how this works. I can get the modules just by clicking on modules in that sidebar navigation. Now, up here at the top, just like assignments or pretty much every other part of Canvas, I'm going to click this plus and then module button. And I know I'm going to want one just for Google Assignments. Now, your module titles, if we go back to our planning document, that's probably going to be where you pull these module titles from and how you break down that content. So whenever we're looking at the name of these modules, you probably already have it named based on unit or based on kind of a loose grouping of assignments to get you to a goal for students. So this is my module, and don't confuse it with assignment groups. Assignment groups won't really direct students to go through things in order. This groups assignments together so that you can put in requirements. You can also put in text headers, pages, really anything imaginable you can put here. So in order to add things to a module, I'm just going to go to that module and click the plus sign over to the right hand side. And it's going to pull me up to this. Now it says assignments were the last thing I went to. It's going to pull that up first. I can change this by going to here. I can add a quiz. I can add just a file. So if there was something, a PDF that I needed students to view, I could put that in there. Don't forget, files can also be embedded within assignments. So really, if you're just putting information up, then that's one thing. If you need it attached to an assignment, think about including it within the assignment. Also, it gives me these other features that I can put in there, like a text header. Let's say I want to break up my module into different parts. I want it to all be one module, but I want it to have a header so that it directs students to that information. I can put that in there and just title it. For now, I'm just going to focus on assignments. Now, it has these things already built into it because I've created these assignments. So it will automatically pull up any of your assignments that you've done so far. So anything that you've created, it'll pull up. Or I can do a new assignment and name it. And what it does is it puts in a placeholder. I'm just going to use test assignment 2 since it's already wanting to fill that in. And there we go. Now, that being said, this test assignment 2 is still blank. But it does allow me to quickly go through and create assignments for placeholders. So you can either start here with the assignment or you can create the assignment and then add it. So as you see, there's really nothing here I have to go through, edit, and do all that. Also, you'll notice in modules that there are these green checks. The green checks mean that they're published. If it's green, students can see it. If it's not, like this whole lesson, this whole unit on propaganda, even though all these are checked green, if the module's not green, students can't see any of this content. For my test one, you'll notice that my module is not published and neither is this assignment. So if I want students to be able to see those, I have to make sure I publish both. I'm just going to go through and add another assignment real quick. Let's see here. I'm going to add Google assignment, just this one. And I'm going to add this one. And I'm just going to add one more of this one. Now, you'll notice that maybe you put things in there out of order or something like that. No problem. All you have to do is go over here. Let's say I want to bring 2 right above 3. I just drag to reorder. So I click and drag and drop. And that's it. That's really all I have to do. Notice these assignments were already published, so I don't have to worry about publishing those. But unless the module is published, students won't be able to see it, so I have to make sure I publish the module. Now, that is how easily you can organize content into modules. From the student's end, what happens is once they're in the module, it'll have next and back buttons to get to the content. It'll all seem like it flows really well together. This also allows me to put in some requirements that students have to do and prerequisites. So let's say I go over here, I want to edit the module, and now I have multiple features for this. And this is where you probably want to put in these availability dates, mainly because this makes sense to lock a whole module, not just an assignment. I can choose to lock it until a certain day. I can also choose prerequisites. So let's say I needed somebody to complete that propaganda unit before they moved on to the unit that we're working on now. That means they would have to fulfill every requirement within that. And then I can also add requirements to my module. So what I can do, this is a test assignment, I can say that students have to score at least an 80 on my test assignment before they can move on. I can also lock it so that students have to move through in sequential order. So let's say I wanted them to score at least an 80 on that, but I only needed them to view this Google assignment, but then on Google assignment 2, I needed them to score an 80 as well. That means students will have to move through these in sequential order. So that means they have to take this quiz, then they have to view this one before they can complete this one. So it really makes it so that you can control the flow of instruction within Canvas. It's really great for that. I'd be careful about putting too many requirements in there, because what I've seen is if students go through and click on something and then come back to it and kind of don't stay on the page long enough, it won't count that as a view. Now, that may be something that you want to do, that's fine, but you have to be aware of this so that you can help students whenever they say, oh, I can't get to the quiz. Well, you need to go back and view the content. So that's just where you have to know your requirements ahead of time. Now, also, if I go up here and I put certain restrictions on this unit, you notice it says complete all items. That means somebody has to contribute to this discussion. They have to contribute to this one, this one, this one, and this one, and then it will unlock the next module so that they can complete these. You don't have to worry about putting a prerequisite for every module. Just think back to the module before. So if I put one in here that they have to complete propaganda before they can go on to this one, and then I put a prerequisite that they have to complete this one before they can move to this one, that automatically means they have to complete this Nearpod unit, this module, before they can move to this last one, the Google assignments. So really planning this out will help, but that planning document was key to that, because that will pretty much dictate what modules you have and where you're going with this. So that's one way that you can organize content within Canvas. The other way we can look at this isn't going to be just like modules, but we have to know kind of what we're looking for as far as information. When we're talking about an assignment versus an announcement versus a page, think about it like this. Whenever we're organizing content in those different places, if I'm wanting students to turn something in or interact, that's going to be a type of assignment, whether it be a discussion, a quiz, an assignment that you use an external tool, or you just submit on Canvas. then we're going to have to include that. If it's just information, so if I just need students to read an article or watch a video or something like that, we can include that within a page. It doesn't necessarily have to be an assignment. If I'm wanting to give information out to the class and make sure that they got it, I can do an announcement. So when we're talking about organizing that content within Canvas, we have to know kind of what we're looking for too, for how we want to share that information. Overall though, just to keep it simple, using modules like this will help the flow of your instruction and help guide students into a certain workflow that helps them learn new material, because you can put different restrictions on it and really help guide them through the instruction.